Hello, everybody. We are live. Welcome to Aimfox's webinar. And today, as every time, we have a very special guest joining us. And please join me in welcoming LeadGen Jay. Jay, welcome to the webinar.
What's going on, Alex? Looking forward to speaking with you and your audience and having some fun today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about. Like, honestly, both of us have been in the space for quite a while. So I think this is going to be a very, very interesting conversation for everybody attending. And we're expecting some 300 plus people today. I think there's going to be quite a bit of questions in the comments.
Especially nowadays, so many new tools and tactics we're exploring and that I know everybody's super interested in. So we'll have some fun. I'm looking forward to it.
100%. I mean, I'm super excited to talk to you for a few reasons. So first being that you've built an amazing lead gen agency. And I think a lot of people in our audience are going to be lead gen experts or people running their own agencies or just like doing lead gen in general. And so for one, yes, you have an amazing lead gen agency, you have some amazing clients, and you know a lot of best practices. But the second reason why I'm super interested in talking to you is because for me, you're also an OG marketer. So you're not just good at outbound and lead gen, but you're also awesome at setting up the entire marketing funnel. And I mean, I'm going off of what you did for yourself, because I know LeadGen J is popping up everywhere. You're on Reddit, you're on LinkedIn, you're on YouTube.
You're caught in my web. I got you. You're pixeled. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you got me, man. I mean, you're never gonna let me go. I mean, I'm super excited. But before I think we dive into the super niche stuff, tell me a little bit more, just how you started, because I think a lot of people are going to relate with that. I know you started with Otter PR. And then you scaled into LeadGen J as a brand. Well, actually, that's not true. So you started in medicine, if I remember.
Yeah, I'll give you a Spark Notes background to not spend some time and bore everybody. I was actually a medical doctor. I went all the way through medical school, osteopathic school in New York. Started my first marketing agency. It was called Instaleet at the time. You would appreciate this. This is back when Instagram automation was kind of open game. It was like a money printer. There was a massive gold rush in the Instagram automation space.
And I remember a bunch of tools Mass Planner. And
that was what I was using. Mass Planner. We had
the old players.
Yeah. 500 clients, mostly doctors, clinics. And when that kind of went away, which was my fourth year of medical school, we had to do a hard pivot. And we're all right, what do we sell all these people, all these doctors, clinics, to try and keep them as clients? So what we came to was essentially PR services. Started off a lot of paid PR services, and we built Otter PR kind of from the ashes of Instaleet once Instagram automation went down. And that actually exploded. We realized there was a huge gap in the market. These PR firms were charging not just thousands, but sometimes tens of thousands of dollars a month for really low tier results. So that did really well as I went into my family medicine residency, and eventually left medicine altogether after 1 year to go all in on Otter PR. And then boom, COVID hit. I'm sitting there with my business partner every day, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, just building this new company. And we eventually built that over the course of 4 years. So we have 55 employees across 2 offices, big sales team.
You know what? sorry for jumping in, but this sounds awfully familiar, because I started in law, went all the way through law school, and then I was just I'm done with law. I'm gonna go into Instagram automation, and that's where we created our first successful brands, our first business, and then we scaled through Instagram automation, which is when you stop doing Instagram automation. We started in 2017, 18, and we scaled as well, similar team, 55, 60 people in the team. So, it's we have a similar roadmap.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It's funny when you have that paradigm shift. I'm sure you're working with lawyers. I was working with doctors. And at the time I was running a 2-person company at Instaleet, making more than the doctors I was working with, from my computer as a medical student. I'm if I could do this as a medical student, what could I do if I went all in on this thing?
Yeah.
But anyways, the 55 employees, and this is where your audience might disagree with me or hate me. It's great. It's cool. We've got our headquarters. We've got this big team, but honestly, the people, more people are more problems. And when you're building an agency and you're on calls with clients, you're at their whim and call anytime that they want. It's a tough life, the agency life, which is kind of what drove me to spend more time and energy on LeadGen, Jay, which is kind of when I started doing the education and coaching, because I had gotten so good at building marketing and sales systems for Otter. I started teaching it for free on YouTube. Didn't have any intention of launching a LeadGen agency.
So what was the first initiative you did? So when you said like, okay, I want to slowly move away from the PR agency thing, like what was the first thing that you did?
I'd say it was a slow move and a slow realization. The first thing that I did was started building an audience on YouTube. I wanted to teach. I wanted to start giving back because I'd gotten really good at this stuff. I wanted to educate. And the plan was never like get away from it and start a course and LeadGen agency. But people started asking for products. They started asking for services. So once they started asking, I started delivering. I would take a week and build up my first course. And then they would start asking us to just come do it for them because I had successful business owners that didn't want to go through a do-it-yourself course. So instead of turning that into an agency, because LeadGen J is not an agency, what we do is completely done for you one-time installs where we'll come into your business, we'll build and install a cold outbound system that works. We won't kind of hand it over to them and say you're done until it works. So sometimes it can take some iteration and testing.
I was going to ask, like, how long does it take to get to a point like, okay, we're doing this, and like, okay, we're done?
Ideally 3 months, but in the edge case, 6 months.
Okay, cool. And I mean, like, again, like being in the SaaS space, I'm a big fan of like understanding pricing. So like, if you don't mind like talking about it, like so like it's like a one-time fee that you charge, you set them up and you let them go, right? Or do you have like an ongoing consultancy fee that you kind of like retain them with?
It's a one-time fee. So we charge half on the front end and then half upon delivery, which is usually about a month after we get started. And it ranges from 7,500 to 10,000 based on the complexity of the build out.
Okay, so it's not a huge range. Like you price it pretty similarly regardless of the scale of what you're doing. Yeah.
Yes, the real big difference for us is how fancy do we have to get to assure success. If it's like a cybersecurity offer or a staffing and recruiting offer, I know we're probably going to have to do some clay enrichments in order to get a good result with our cold outbound system. If it's an offer where I know we're going to have to go like scrape Google Maps or do like social media scraping to find our target list, that's going to add some complexity to the system, and it's going to be that $10,000 price range. Okay. But we also make some money on the back end. We do mailbox infrastructure, and we sign everybody up to instantly through our affiliate where we get 40%. So a couple ways where we get some retainer, and then we offer to run it after we're done if they want for a really like low $1,500 per month, or we just add leads and send them Loom videos, but no meetings, absolutely no meetings. That's like a hard rule.
When you say no meetings, no, I mean, you mean like you're not booking meetings for them?
We're not doing meetings with the clients after
you're
delivery.
Not doing meetings with the clients. Correct. So you just like populate the campaigns with the leads. And you make sure that those campaigns execute, maintain certain reply rates, positive reply rates, all that stuff, right?
After delivery, we don't guarantee any specific reply rates or positive reply rates. A lot can happen that can cause a system to stop working optimally. And that's not part of our guarantee after we've met our guarantee. Our guarantee, remember, it's that one-time fee. So we don't hand it over to them until it's working and meeting our KPIs. But after that.
And that's actually a very good point, because I think a lot of agencies that are just starting, or just like, one-man shows, they're just getting started, they're likely going to oversell. They're going to promise you, like, I guarantee you're going to get this many meetings booked, this much pipeline created, But at the end of the day, like, it's super, super hard to make that guarantee, because like, as you well know, like, it depends on the offer, it depends on the product, on the PMF. Like, there's so much complexity, and then you have like the sales part, because somebody needs to do those calls, they need to close those calls. Like, how good is their sales team? So like, I mean, like, whenever I hear somebody like guaranteeing a deliverable like in such a complex setting, I mean, I don't like it, because I would never do it.
And as an experienced marketer, I am, you are, we can see right through that in most cases. Now, a lot of business owners can't. They just don't know what like industry standards and good expectations should be. So they fall into those traps. So if any of those people are listening, my advice to you is get it in writing and pay with a credit card, because a lot of times they're just blowing smoke and they're not going to be able to fulfill on that guarantee.
Yeah.
And if you're an agency owner deciding whether to offer a guarantee, because yes, it makes the sale easier. Everybody purchasing wants the guarantee, but it's not going to be worth it to you in the long run. Once you're getting all these chargebacks, you've put in all of this work. I've seen businesses crumble because of guarantees that they can't fulfill on. It's not worth it.
Yeah. So just for those listening, when Jay said pay with credit card, you want to pay with a credit card because you can charge back pretty easily in case something just doesn't go the way, and if you pay with Amex, like you're pretty safe, like,
Yes.
So, and honestly, like, I went through this, like, like when we first started like 7, 8, 9 years ago, I was personally overselling on the early sales calls I was doing, overpromising. And that blows back. Like it blows back if you're running a recurring model, which a lot of agencies are. So like, they want to bill you month to month. Your users are just going to churn. So, you need to kind of like find the balance between closing the deal easily and not overselling, but still like, making the lead or the person you're talking to really understand the complexity of the situation. And like, there is no like magic guarantee, So Jay, like you mentioned Clay, you mentioned Instantly. Like, I'd love to learn more about your tool stack. So what does your agency use? I know you said you're an affiliate with Instantly, probably with a few others maybe, but like, what do you guys use? What are your tools? And also, I'd like to ask people in the audience as well to share what tools they use, because you said Instantly, somebody's using maybe Smartly, and I'd like to hear those people, or like, or ask you, why do you prefer Instantly over Smartly? So because I think there is value in that exchange. So yeah.
Cool. Well, let's start with Instantly, since you want to go a little bit deeper on that one. That's for cold email outreach. There's really 3 main competitors in that market. There's Instantly, there's Smartly, there's ReachInbox. There's a lot of older ones as well. Woodpecker, Reply.io. Instantly is my favorite because they're developing the fastest. I'm really tight with their dev team, their leadership team. I've got a really good deal with them, but honestly, I have a better deal with Smartly or ReachInbox, but Instantly is the best in class. It's the one that I use every day. Yeah. The couple reasons for it: warm-up pool. It's the highest quality warm-up pool. I've never had an issue with it. Smartly recently had a big issue with their warm-up pool that caused a lot of mailboxes to start delivering to spam. They've got a couple really other helpful features that they keep adding too. Deliverability optimization. It runs daily deliverability tests on all the mailboxes, and then you can automate removing them from the campaigns and then putting them back in once the deliverability reaches a certain threshold. Other than that, analytics is good. User interface is great. It's just really usable and easy to work with. They've got great APIs. I really got no complaints overall about a tool based on what I'm trying to do with it. The stuff is hard enough as it is. Picking the right tool makes it a lot easier. But going into some of our other tool stack, for CRM, we're using Go High Level. Now, with a caveat there, we also use ActiveCampaign to send our newsletters. It's got the best deliverability. They're controlling and keeping their IP addresses clean. So ActiveCampaign delivers much better to our large list than Go High Level does, even with the warm dedicated IP that we have in there. Cool. Additional tools. I mean, I've been doing automation for a decade now, since Zapier started to become popular. So we went from Zapier to Make. Now we're building everything inside of N8N, and we're using that for a ton of stuff. Now, honestly, we're replacing a lot of our Clay automations with N8N automations.
I was going to ask. So because we're actually rolling out an N8N integration
Hell
next
yes.
week,
Hell
next week
yes.
or the week after, we're in the approval process. So we passed the review and everything, and now we're just like signing some privacy paperwork with NA10. So I really think that our integration is going to be live next week, I hope. So, and we
That'll
have
be
a
great.
integration as well, but I see NA10 is really picking up pace.
Yeah, N8N is unbelievable. Just like instantly, they're developing faster than any of their competitors. It works unbelievably well. And with the community version, you can run unlimited automations. You just have to scale your server, which is why I'm looking at it now as a Clay alternative too. If I'm doing these big tables in Clay, why don't I just move all that stuff into N8N?
And how is pricing when you compare the two?
I mean, N8N is essentially free. It's essentially free because all you have to do is pay for the server space and then load the community version of N8N onto that server. And now you don't have to pay for tasks. You don't have to pay for anything. So I pay about $80 a month for the server, which is a really strong server to run basically all of my automations. Now, if you're doing millions of automations and task runs, per week, that might be a different story. But unbelievably priced. Versus Clay, it was about $350 per month for the first usable plan, because now you can bring in your own API keys. Can be a little bit pricey for some people, but my team uses the crap out of it for our clients, for our campaigns.
I mean, you make it worth it. I mean, honestly, we do our outbound. If we're talking specifically about outbound, we do it in house, and I don't really care that much if something costs me $500, $1,000, $700, $300 a month or more, because again, it's about and then there's cost of switching as well.
Especially big softwares like automation tools and CRMs. It is a nightmare to move from one to the other. So when I had to go from Zapier to Make to N8N, I'm like, somebody's really got to convince me that this is worth it. But in this case, it was worth it.
Oh, I was actually yesterday. I was on a call with a really big agency that's using a competitor. And, we started the call off and they were just so we are not really interested in switching because the cost of switching is just super high. So as the call progressed, and we are aware that that's a big hurdle for teams. So we really went in to give dev support for migrations and stuff. So our goal, what we want to do when doing migrations is, if you are using a tool and you want to switch into Aimfox, we want to be able to migrate all of your active sessions, like LinkedIn sessions, into Aimfox directly without making you relog in those accounts. So that's a big thing that we are able to do. And I don't think anybody else is able to do it. But
what is the big hurdle for LinkedIn automation? I would think it's that your Aimfox wouldn't remember what HeyReach, the people you already interacted with there. The people you already tried to connect with, how does that all work?
So the way that works is if they're in your first connections, so we know that they're already connected. So you can use your LinkedIn outreach either for communicating with your established connections or for finding new leads and outbound. So outbound in that sense, when you outreach somebody, they either accept your connection request and then you can send them messages, or they don't. So yes, you are right. When you migrate from service to service, certain data is lost. But again, I don't think that's the biggest issue, because you're usually going to be using Clay for if you're an advanced agency, you're going to be using Clay, and you're just going to be communicating to HeyReach or Aimfox, just what needs to be executed. So we're just the gun that you fire, but in Clay, you manage.
We're switching from HeyReach to Aimfox right now. I think for the LinkedIn automation tools, it's relatively simple. As opposed to switching, I do all of my communities and courses inside of school.com, one of Hermosi's companies. And I get propositioned all the time from Go High Level and other learning platforms to switch from school, and I could never. I mean, I've got all my community there. They're checking in there. They're interacting in there. Moving that from one platform to another, the cost of switching would just be astronomical. Totally unreasonable.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big topic in itself, but I definitely think just talking about the wider tool stack, in general, that's why, going back to what you said, it's super important that you pick your tools properly from the start, because you're going to have a headache if you decide, oh, okay, this might be a better fit after you've already integrated like into HubSpot, and then you want to switch to close, or you want to go to act like, it's so like, like measure twice. We have a saying in Serbian. I'm from Serbia. We have like measure 3 times, cut once, so that's kind of, I think, your advice. Yeah. So talking about like the general funnel, like how does LeadGen J get its leads? That's what I would like to understand.
Sure. So let's talk about the top of funnel, which is people who don't know who we are and discovering us for the first time. And then we can go into middle of funnel. So the top of funnel is by far always going to be the most expensive, hardest to acquire new leads, people to discover who you are and get them to click, which is really the goal. Show them your thing, get them to click on your stuff. And we do kind of 3 main forms of marketing to drive new top of funnel traffic. Since we got started with LeadGen J, the most effective by far has been my YouTube channel, which is not going to be the recommended for everybody, because to be honest, it takes a long freaking time, and you're not guaranteed to generate leads from it. A lot of people burn out before it actually starts producing leads, probably making content for a year before it really started making us a lot of money. And if anyone's interested, we just did like a 7-hour and 20-minute video on everything I know about lead generation. It's free on my YouTube channel. Definitely worth checking out and watching. And then my AI automation masterclass comes out on Monday. So that's very exciting.
Is it going to be, again, 7 hours long? Please don't.
I don't think I'll ever do another. It was 14 hours of footage, that original video. Jeez. It was brutal. But no, this one will probably be about 3 hours long. Really just about like how to think about AI automation and some of the capabilities that you have with those tools. So I saw a lot of comments, people interested in learning that stuff. I distilled it into like the best way I could imagine seeing it for the first time. So it's a great place to start. So YouTube drives a lot of our top of funnel traffic, but these are people watching my videos, and then you need a conversion mechanism, because it's one thing to have somebody like watching your organic content, but turning them into someone in your CRM that you're sending emails to, running retargeting ads to. You need a conversion mechanism, something to get them to click on and give us their information. So as soon as they click, now you've pixeled them. So as you were mentioning earlier, I'm following you around all over the internet. Those are just different tracking pixels from Reddit, Quora, Facebook, Google. So as soon as you hit my landing page, whether you opt in or not, I can follow you around with my ads. So those are called retargeting ads. You really want to build like a 360 ecosystem. So no matter where somebody goes, they're hearing from you. They're getting text messages, they're getting voicemails, they're getting emails.
What platforms do you cover? So I know I saw you on Reddit, I saw you on Facebook, I saw you on Instagram, I saw you on YouTube. Is there anything else you're covering other than those 4?
Yeah, we cover LinkedIn, we cover Quora, we cover Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I guess those are kind of the same thing. We do LinkedIn in-message retargeting ads. Those are the only things that's really worked well. So instead of like showing you display ads, we'll actually do a sponsored message in your LinkedIn messages. Only
but that's again, but you're targeting leads that you've already, that like, this is not like top funnel. So this is like already like,
Yes. So for top of funnel, we're doing Google ads. We're not even doing YouTube ads, only retargeting. We're doing Google search. We're doing Google Performance Max, PMax. Those work really well. We're doing Facebook ads, and all of my top of funnel, we're not sending them to like my agency page to like sign up for our high ticket services. I've got a low ticket offer. It's $97, a really compelling done for you cold email build out where we essentially do all of the steps. So what that's called, there's self-liquidating break-even funnel, where we're not really making much money from that offer itself, but all I want to do is get people into my ecosystem. So the profit we make from selling that offer should at least cover my ad costs. Luckily for us, it's like 3 or 4 times my ad costs. So now we're putting leads into our pipeline and making money from it. So we have essentially a money printer, which is what you want to try and create, versus running ads to like a book a call funnel, which we do for our PR agency. Top of funnel ads, try and get somebody to book a call. It's a lot harder to track. So sometimes it feels like you're just pouring money into a fire bin. So you really need like a long timeline, and you need good attribution on your ads if you're running a book a call funnel for your agency.
I was just about to touch on that. Like attribution, if you're doing ads, attribution is for me, like the biggest thing. Like,
Huge. And it's hard to do.
For our brands, like, for the Instagram stuff, well, not Aimfox, but like other things we as a holding company do, we ran like Google ads budgets of like 300K a month.
Wow.
And at that point, we didn't have good attribution. And we were like, we're profitable. Like we know we are, because, we see new MRR, we see growth, we know we're profitable. But we don't really know what specific ads, which specific campaigns are targeting, which are not. And we didn't have a clear ROAS. And basically, we optimized the attribution, and that was a big project.
Huge.
And yeah, it's like we underestimated the task. It took us a long time to do, but when we did it, our ad spend went from I think we decreased our ad spend by 40% or 50%, and our signups stayed the same. So we're like, okay, we just made 100K a month more just by optimizing costs on the ad spend side. And then, but it's not only cost optimization, it also gives you a foundation on which you can scale. Yes. And you know what to scale and what to descale. So, yeah.
So everybody who's running any sort of marketing at all, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, DM comment automations, the first layer of attribution and tracking is UTM parameters. Learn them. They're really easy to add to the backs of your links. And then as long as you have Google Analytics, or Go High Level can even detect UTM parameters, it'll start showing you where your traffic and sales are coming from. That's the first level. Everybody needs to set that up first. Now, if you're spending 10K or more on ads every month, and if you're spending 300K, I'm shocked that you hadn't already had something more sophisticated set up. But Hyros is non-negotiable for agencies. It's the only one specifically that I would recommend for anyone who has a longer sales cycle, like an agency, because it does kind of track that whole sales cycle from lead to call to sale. And you can run a lot of different reports to see, first touch, last touch, what their journey's been.
Yep.
So that's been a huge game changer for us. We have Hyros connected to all of our ads accounts. We know exactly what's working, how profitable each one is. Is that what you use as well?
Yeah. So the marketing team is using so for ROAS tracking, we're using oh my God, I can't remember the name honestly, because we tried a few.
I've tried a few too.
Yeah, and I'm off the top of my head, I can't remember, because we have an in-house marketing team that is managing that stuff.
Awesome.
Rural analytics. Rural analytics.
I'm not familiar with that one. Cool.
Yeah.
That is the most expensive software that I pay for. It costs $1,500 a month. But
exactly. We paid exactly the same. Exactly the same. That's it.
It's not cheap, but again, non-negotiable if you're spending that much on ads. Because nowadays, with all the privacy tracking and stuff that Apple and all the things have on their devices, you can't rely on the pixels anymore to be true. It doesn't follow you across devices. True. These platforms like Hyros will not just track your IP address, they'll track device IDs, emails, names, phone numbers, and then match and merge people. So even if I go from my computer to my phone to make a sale, it knows it's me. And that's something you need.
Yeah. So I know we're going to get back to this. I don't want to do questions now, but we'll get to it towards the end. But so just ad attribution. I see a question. What is ad attribution? What is ROAS? Ad attribution is just knowing which ads perform with 100% certainty and which don't. So you know on which ads you should spend more money and where you should spend less money and get a higher ROAS. For me, so ROAS is profitability on
return on ad spend.
Yeah, so return on ad spend. Exactly.
Yeah. What are you putting in? What are you getting out?
Exactly. So you have one being first month you make your money back, and then everything up more than that is amazing. Okay, so yeah, I mean, so tell me, so you get leads. Do you do sales calls with your leads?
I'll only personally take sales calls with direct references. So one of my clients or friends comes to me and wants to sign up for a service, I'll take that phone call personally. But if it's not a direct reference or a friend and they're just booking on our site, it goes to our sales team.
Okay, but you have a sales team doing calls, right?
Yes, I do. For Otter, we have about 6 closers. For LeadGen J, we have 2.
Okay, amazing. And okay, so basically then the funnel is, the goal for LeadGen J is to get them to either, well, you have a bunch of free material, and then like all of that, the goal of all of that is, of course, at the end of the day, to be profitable. So you do that so where do you make money? So you have like the outbound done for you part, but you also have like courses in school. So like all of those things bring revenue for you, right? So like, and you also have the affiliations with brands. So you really build a whole ecosystem that you're profiting from.
Whole ecosystem. I can try and break it down. So the principle is, you really don't want to do sales calls unless someone needs to like talk about an offer that's worth usually more about $2,000. Under $2,000, you can typically sell it without a sales call, which is why our program is priced around $1,500. Now, we still do sales calls for that to try and guide people in the right direction, since we do have several offers, including, that $100 offer, just to get people's feet wet, get them saying yes, pulling out their credit card. And then the program is $1,500, and you're going to be talking to usually one of 2 types of people. Whether it's going to be someone like you, Alex, who runs a really successful business, and you just want us to come and do it right the first time. You don't have time to try and learn it and deal with it yourself and go through trial and error. You just want us to come in and install it. You're a done for you buyer. So we would try and direct you to our high ticket offer. And then if you're not interested in that, we'd probably direct you to our low ticket, just like automated setup. Now, for people who are, just getting started, they're trying to launch their own lead gen agency, really want to get better at this stuff or build it themselves, we'll ascertain that usually from an intake form or from that sales call and direct them toward our done with you, more guided programs. Now, those are like the 3 levels of our core offers, but we also built a whole ecosystem to profit on the back end. So we've got a lot of free material. Most of it points people in the direction of joining our paid programs or booking a call. And then on the back end, we're making money on mailbox infrastructure. So people need to send cold emails. They need mailboxes to do it. We make money on affiliate deals. So if we're doing that $97 setup, we'll do it under our Instantly affiliates. We're taking 40% every month. And then and
it's awesome that by the way, it's awesome that you're like openly talking about this stuff, because a lot of the people doing affiliate, they want to hide the fact that they're affiliates. But like, I really know that, like, even if you, as you said, you might have better offers elsewhere, you only like do affiliate collaborations with tools that you actually use,
Yes.
and then are good and they work for you.
I could make a lot more money setting people up on a tier 2 tool and setting them up with, private SMTP mailboxes that cost me 50 cents or free to make, but it's not going to work as well. And if you don't get good results for your clients, your business is screwed. So your number one priority as a business owner, especially as a service or an agency, is you got to do a good job. If you don't do a good job for your clients, your time is limited. If you do a good job, you've got referrals, you've got positive reviews, and then you have a sustainable business. So the affiliate, the back end stuff, that's pennies compared to the value of doing a good job.
It's just part of the ecosystem. But like, as you said, if you're really providing value for your clients, you grow from your current client base just through, like, referrals are an amazing thing. Like, and I think in the high ticket space, like, it really like any ticket value, like, if you have something people like, they're going to refer it, and they don't even need to get like a cut out of it. I noticed, like, here's like a funny story, like for Aimfox, we have a referral program, and we're going to do a very generous referral program because we want people to refer us. And then we see a lot of people signing up through referrals, but they're not using the referral program. And we're like, who referred you? And they say X. And then we reach out to him, like, hey, we got a client from you. He's like, oh yeah, that's fine. Like, do you want, or like, you should have used your referral link for us to track it. And he's like, no, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Like, I just love your tool. And I just like thought like they could benefit from it. So I think like when you reach that point, that's like when you know you have product market fit from like a product perspective. The similar logic applies with the agencies, So
100%. The best traffic that you can get is referral traffic. It's the easiest to convert, and it's a good green light that you've got a good offer that people actually want. So it's good for you on getting random referrals. That's a great sign.
But honestly, like when we first launched, like end of last year, like like whenever you launch something new, like a lot of things, there are a lot of hiccups. Like you might have missed some things, and like the referrals weren't a huge thing. But we see it just ramping up, and we have these things that we track to know if we're building the product in the right direction, like NPS score, referrals. So all these things, like they guide us, like with like numbers to know, like, okay, like, the product is getting better and better and better. Churn is going down and down and down. And it's really satisfying to see this, like as a product builder, like those metrics, like reflecting your results. But again, like very similar for agencies as well. I mean, just it's a little different, but the logic behind it is the same.
Yeah, building software sounds interesting. A lot of different metrics and KPIs. I tried to build our own lead database, hired a developer in India. It's just been a nightmare. So good for you on being able to develop products for people that are actually good. And I know how much goes into it. It's brutal.
But it's a big process. Like, if we approached it like pretty seriously. Like, when we said like we're building Aimfox, we were like, okay, like let's get like a 25-person team working on Aimfox. So you need UI UX designers, you need backend engineers, you need front-end engineers, you need QAs, you need a PM, you need a bunch of things. You need a clear roadmap. You need like it's really complex. It takes a long time. So like we've been building Aimfox for a long time, like privately, and just like didn't go public with it. So when we launched, like like if you ask me, I think we should have launched a long time ago, but like the product wouldn't have been where it's at.
Right.
So it's kind of, you have to kind of like weigh the pros and cons. But like as with everything, like I mean, it's like YouTube as well. You said it's a process. You need to put in at least a year plus of just like content, like thought through content, and then like at some point it's going to start making you money. But like getting there, it's definitely a process, and it takes a lot of stamina.
A lot of time and money with no guarantee of payoff at the end. So it's not.
So it's like high risk, high reward.
Yes.
So I see. I think like we can kind of tackle a few questions here and there. So
looks like we got a bunch of comments in here. What's up, everybody? Thank you all for tuning in. I hope this has been helpful so far.
All right. So here we go. I'll let you handle this one.
What's the offer that works for top of funnel for lead gen? So the offer that works for me, if you're trying to sell lead generation services, is you try and solve everybody's biggest problem and as fast as possible for the lowest prices possible. So if you go to leadgenj.com/97, I think that should take you to that front end offer that we use. We basically do all of the copywriting. We pull and verify a lead list, and we do all of the mailbox infrastructure for $97, which is people have never heard of before. And it honestly takes a lot of our resources, a lot of systems in order to pull off. But it's one of those like too good to be true offer stacks that converts really well. So I'd say for lead gen, it's a really oversaturated market. And if you're emailing someone like, hey, let me do cold email for you, let me generate leads for you, I guarantee you this many leads in this many days, never works. We've tried all of it. People are pretty immune to it. So you need to find a unique angle. So doing some of the done for you stuff for them, or even just launching the system, giving it to them, generating that first lead for them, just kind of proving to them that, you can do it instead of just promising, I think is the way to go about it.
Yeah. Just the done for, I'm just going to do a quick comment on the done for you part. Like I know like we struggled a little bit with that part. Like when we launched Aimfox, it was like, how do we show value to the user? And we were like, okay, let's do a done for you. And we charge it like $100 a month. Like it was like dirt cheap. Like the point of it was not to make money off the done for you program, but it was to get just like to work with more users and to make sure they get value from Aimfox. So of course, like we removed that like fairly quickly because it just becomes like very hard to like manage and it's not scalable for us. But like we got that validation that, okay, Aimfox can provide the value for businesses.
Right. And where you may have gone wrong, not that you did, but the monthly, like done for you management every month, where they're like expecting ongoing service and they have ongoing questions. That's where it's not sustainable.
Exactly.
But, you know, say you just do a one-time $9,700, you set up their LinkedIn account, you connect it, you pull their audience, you write their copy, you put it in there, and you say, all right, now it's on you.
Actually, that's a very good point. I haven't thought it through, and now that you lay it out, like it definitely makes sense.
Right, and then you get them paying a subscription fee to keep using the platform, but you show a lot of value up front just getting them started.
Yeah, exactly. So here's a good question. I'm starting to learn more about Clay. Should you go for Clay or for N8N first? So yeah,
cool. I'll give my best shot at that one. So what is Clay? Essentially, I think is an important distinction to make. It's essentially a no-code automation platform, just like N8N is, except it's put into like a table format, like a Google spreadsheet, and each column is a different node, where each of those nodes can either be an app or it could be some kind of formatting action that you run. So it's essentially the same thing. Clay is just designed for lead generation. The other benefit of Clay is they give you free data with the expectation that they're going to use their credits to process that data and do enrichments on that data. So if you're thinking about learning Clay versus N8N and you're going to pick one or the other, I would probably say N8N just because it's not as limited to lead generation use cases where Clay mostly is. Most of the stuff we do in N8N isn't just lead generation. It's full business automation. We've built AI sales directors. We built, fully autonomous billing and SDRs, appointment bookers, chatbots, just about anything you can imagine that runs a business, we do inside of N8N. So I'd say if you're picking one, do N8N. If this is for your lead generation agency and you're going to use this for clients, then I might direct you towards Clay, because for that $350 a month, it's very scalable to use for your clients as well.
Yep.
Would you agree, Alex? Anything to add there?
So honestly, I'm going to be honest. I zoned out because I was reading some comments. I was reading some comments, and I kind of zoned out. But man, I mean, I trust you 100% with this stuff. I just saw like N8N first, Clay second. So from my experience, I've looked into N8N. Honestly, I haven't used. We are not using N8N yet. However, we did build an integration. So I know the devs from like the technical API standpoint were super happy. And this was like, wow, this integration is super easy. And it's a very good match with Aimfox. So, awesome.
That's a funny one.
Yeah, behind with all those phones.
WTF is going on behind Alex. Yeah. I said the same thing when we jumped on this call. I already knew because I've talked to Alex before. But I'm like, that is a sick background. Like, why don't you explain what that is?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the Instagram side of the business. As I said, Constellation is a holding company and we have a few products under our umbrella. And that is from our OG product that we started, almost 10 years ago now, where we have a lot of clients, and it's at a very mature phase, very scaled, and it's basically similar to what Aimfox does for LinkedIn. It does a similar thing for Instagram, except our user audience is going to be more like retail, like more like just like normal people, or like very small businesses. So we're not like really going for agencies there. We're going more for like the actual like business owners who want to like use Instagram to scale their businesses. So yeah, I mean, I see a bunch of big comments here. Ksenia, is there anything you want to pull? Ksenia is in the background, by the way. Okay, Katie. Oh, hey, Katie. Awesome. Would this work for an individual salesperson trying to reach particular people as opposed to a company trying to reach customers?
So Katie, my answer, hell yeah. We've actually done a lot of build outs for salespeople that are doing it without the knowledge of their companies, where these salespeople are doing their own outbound, setting their own calendars, and they're doing high ticket sales. So the value of these calls are worth a fortune to them. So we've done a lot of these build outs, without doing it for the company, just from the salesperson, and they've been really successful. So yes, if you're doing high ticket sales and you're setting your own meetings, this is a huge asset for you.
So I'm going to double down on that because I think, so I know that like we have some, like in Aimfox's user portfolio, we have individual salespeople in some very, very big companies like Intercom or, big credit card processors such as like checkout.com or a bunch of like Upwork, but like, we're not maybe adopted like as a solution company wide. It's not like their entire sales team is using it, but we have individuals from their sales teams, for example, using Aimfox, because a lot of these sales positions are going to be very KPI driven, and every one of those employees wants to get their monthly, quarterly, yearly KPIs, and tools like this help. However, like I always think it makes a lot of sense to integrate on a company level, something that works on an individual level. And I know we're working with these players or with these champions on just making this a company-wide solution. But like with enterprise clients, it always takes a while.
Yeah, and for salespeople, we've had a salesperson come in and champion our solutions for their whole company. It's like, yeah, talk to their CEO. And it's like, yeah, let me test this out. I want to try the solution to like book my own calendar. Usually they're on board with it as a test, whether it's like for you or one other salesperson. A lot of times they'll say yes, as long as it's not an enterprise company. Then that changes things.
Yeah, that completely changes things. Like I had I know just like in the credit card processing space, like we had like a user from checkout.com, which is like a big credit card processor, like enterprise level, like I don't know, like 5,000-10,000 employees. And he just like signed up for a free trial and he closed a $7,000 a month deal in the free trial. And I was like, wow, you need to champion this. You need to tell the rest of your team, because I was like, we have this in the bag. Like, it's a done deal. But just like it just kind of gets extended, pushed over meetings, and then enterprise kind of like loses that.
We don't even try and sell enterprise. Yeah, it's not worth the aggressive sales cycles. And sometimes you get to the very end and then someone kills it. It's a nightmare.
All right. So we're a boutique staffing recruiting firm that hires for small to mid-sized companies and act as an extension to their talent acquisition team. Okay. What type of results have been achieved with B2B clients?
So I'm going to assume that we're talking about cold outreach, as in like LinkedIn automation plus cold email. They're essentially the same thing. One is a little bit more scalable than others, other than Aimfox is now scaling LinkedIn accounts. So that is going to change.
We're rolling something out like with AI SDRs that we think is, I mean, I know you know about it because we've been talking about it a lot, but like it's completely going to add a new scale to LinkedIn outreach, and it's going to make it it's going to bring it very close to LinkedIn, to cold emailing, So, we're very excited about this. There is going to be a public announcement about this like pretty soon, like in September. But yeah, I mean, AI SDRs.
I won't give anything else away.
I want to talk about it, but like I'm going to hold back. And wait a few more weeks.
Yeah. But in response to your question, this works best for B2B clients. Honestly, if we get propositions for people who want to build outbound systems for B2C, and we turn them down 9 out of 10 times. So you need to be able to hyper target the person you want to reach in order for cold outbound to work. And usually the only way to do that is knowing what industry that they're in, their job title, the size of their company, and then you try and deduce their problems and pain points from there. So yes, if you're B2B, that's good. That's a qualifier that this would work for you. And for staffing and recruiting particularly, that's one of our top industries. There's probably like 3 where we do 80% of our build outs. It's like IT, cybersecurity, staffing, recruiting, and then a lot of like consultancies and agencies is probably our 3rd biggest bucket. The big thing to note is that when you have saturated offers, staffing and recruiting is relatively saturated, you need to run certain plays and work a little bit harder to get those meetings and leads. So for you, you should be focusing on job posting signals. If you can go after companies that are actively posting jobs and be the first to them, then you're going to have a lot more success. Clay is a good way to get those that signal data for free, or you can use something like Appify to scrape LinkedIn jobs or Indeed.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, everything. I mean, again, Aimfox, really quickly, very B2B friendly. B2C, there are some cases where it can work, but it's an exception.
Right.
But yeah, B2B all the way. Stan, I see you're asking, are there any plans to integrate with Make? We already have a native integration with Make. I know things are moving quickly with Aimfox. We launched it like 3-4 weeks ago. So, you know, if you blink, you're likely going to miss a launch. So yeah, we have a native integration with Make.
And if you guys are already on Make and you're proficient, there's really nothing you can't do in Make that you can do inside of N8N, at least nothing significant. So for those of you listening to us, it's like, oh shit, I need to switch from Make to N8N. You probably don't, unless you're like really a power user.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I see one more. Let's do one more question. Okay, time is flying. Like we're 52 minutes in. Like I haven't even looked at the counter, and I mean, so we need to start wrapping this up slowly. Yeah, I'm going to do one more question unless something else pops up that I really want to answer. So audio messages on LinkedIn actually helpful or annoying? Any metrics on effectiveness of LinkedIn audio messages versus normal message? So I understand where you're coming from. So we've just integrated voice messages into Aimfox. So to be completely honest, I don't have from Aimfox enough of a data sample because we launched this like a week ago or like 10 days ago. I don't have enough of a data sample to tell you that it's tremendously better. However, my personal opinion is that it is better. So I know personally, I open voice messages when I get them. So as with everything in outbound, like, you know, never take anything for granted. Like even like when you talk with experts, like when you like everything you hear here, like don't take it like don't just take it for granted, because in your specific use case, in your specific industry, it might be different. So ABC test. So test things, see what performs, tweak, improve, because none of us have an identical funnel and like way we get leads. So like we all have our own takes. So try it, monitor results, and then make your own decisions. In theory, I think it's a good feature to have. But then again, it just comes down to how you use it and how you integrate it.
Can I ask you a question about LinkedIn Voice, Alex? Since this is probably an area of your specialty where I'm a little bit lacking.
Yeah.
One play that we run pretty successfully is we'll use N8N and we'll integrate 11 labs. And then I'll do a custom voicemail that I'll then send as a voicemail drop using a tool called Drop Cowboy. Can I send that via API to Aimfox, my custom MP3 voicemail?
That's a really good question. We haven't had that question come up yet. So you want to send your own, so on the API?
On the API.
I'm going to give you a tentative yes, because I know how our API works. So basically the voice is just an attachment. We communicate. Yeah, you should be able to. Honestly, that's a very good case, because we want to build this natively into Aimfox, where you can personalize for every lead, like with AI voice messages. So that's going to be the V2 coming up. But with this way, it should work. Yeah, you should be able to do it. It's a tentative yes. I'm 85% sure it's a yes. However, if we can't do it now, I'm sure we can update our API doc and open up those endpoints.
You guys will build it for me. Perfect.
I mean, it should be there in the entire infrastructure. It's just about like which API endpoints are public, and we can maybe like tweak it with a little bit of work and get it done.
Cool. I'll let you know if it's not there.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, should we call it a day?
I think that was a productive conversation. I had fun. I think we can wrap up.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up. So yeah, you were talking about having a good CTA, call to action, at the end. I don't think I have good enough. My minds are not good enough. It's just gonna be like, if you're not using Aimfox, give it a try. Create a free account, and if you need anything in the plethora of things that you do, you're the go-to person for this. So yeah,
Cool.
I mean, that's the
My
best.
big call
That's
to
the best
action for
advice.
everybody. I just released that 7-hour, 20-minute YouTube video on everything I know about lead generation. It's totally free. It's on YouTube. If you search cold email on Google, it's the first video that comes up.
Insane.
Pretty crazy.
Wow, that's crazy. And by the way, so I watched parts of the video. So just like as a pro tip, you might not like this, Jay, but like for me it was helpful.
Give it to me. Give me the feedback.
So I mean, like realistically, like I'm not gonna sit down and just do it in one take.
No.
You know, it's
That's why the
huge.
timestamps are there too.
Yeah, exactly. So the timestamp. So
And
I'm
the
just like
Spark notes.
I'm just gonna be smart. Okay. You can just kind of like hop between things that are relevant for you, and you can prioritize things like based on things that like you're doing currently. But I spent, I think, like 3 hours of watch time or 4 hours on the video. And I mean, it's insane knowledge. And we even shared it with our user base. So like, I think like 11,000 or 12,000 users that we have on Aimfox, we sent them all the link to the video, because I think like it's like it's just a great, I mean, but like you're so like the hard thing, I'm just going to end it with this. The hard thing in marketing is when you're giving away so many free things and still making money at the end of the funnel. That's the most complex way of marketing. That's why I opened this up with saying you're an OG in marketing, because I mean, that's insane. Like that's the hardest way to monetize. Again, it's the best way. So with that said, thank you so much for joining us today. I think we have a lot of interesting things coming up in the future together in the pipeline. So that's going to be exciting for everybody. And Jay, I mean, it was a pleasure.
Alex, you're the man. Thank you for having me. I had fun.
Likewise. Bye, everybody. Have an awesome day.
See you guys.